Do a lot of villains actually promote anti-intellectualism? I saw a TikTok recently that proposed this question. As we can see her saying her wokest opinion is that evil mad scientist trope in superhero movies is anti-intellectualism propaganda. First off, let's define anti-intellectualism. Here's an AI Google overview of the definition and what it means to be anti-intellectual, with the highlighted being the idea or argument as to why supervillains are anti-intellectual. However, if we look at live-action supervillains and many that quote-unquote fit the mad scientist trope, I think that it quite shows the opposite, and most of these mad scientists come down to a belief of morals, not anti-intellectualism. The most perfect example, Lex Luthor wishes he's what Batman is. Batman uses intellect to help others, and he even tries to help his own villains. Lex Luthor, on the other hand, uses his intellect for selfish, power-driven reasons, which isn't in any way anti-intellectual. I believe it's more of a philosophical thing, more of a deep-rooted human thing for greed and power, more of a thing within us as people to fight that urge. You can even see it within the own movie. We have Mr. Terrific within the Superman movie who is almost as smart as Lex Luthor and uses his smartness for good. He does good with it. Is he being seen as anti-intellectual? No, because he's combating against a corrupted soul, someone who is Lex Luthor, deeply rooted as evil. Yes, Mr. Freeze live action sucks, but I think he fits the trope of quote-unquote evil mad scientists, although his is more understandable and relatable. I think most people understand Mr. Freeze is just trying to help his wife. He's just doing it in criminal ways. He's just, kind of breaking the law, trying to do it. I think that Mr. Freeze, more so than any other, proves that just because you are intellectual doesn't mean you are above others and are above the law. Dr. Octopus, I think, is in a similar way to Lex Luthor, except he has more of a moral shift from a more good-sided perspective to a more selfish and villainy perspective after a tragic accident. His intellectualism isn't what drives him for stuff, it's his personal beliefs and personal things. I don't think it's his smarts that does it. And again, he is put up against someone who is very, very smart in Peter Parker, Spider-Man. So I think that there's also the morality and difference between two different intellectuals on two different sides of the spectrum. I mean, superheroes and military propaganda is a very convoluted point of discussion, especially with movies such as Iron Man that talk about the consequences of weaponizing technology and selling it to the military, The Dark Knight and Watchmen who talk about, surveillance and that stuff, not to mention the X-Men who are very anti-military, and people like the Punisher who used to be in the military and go against the corruption of it, Captain Marvel. We have just started to delve into a little bit of it with Captain America. And I think violence or action kind of gets caught up with military propaganda because most of these people are facing losses when this happens. It's the heroic action in the defense of stuff and losing something for the greater good of other things, and all this stuff, that there are symbols of hope, not symbols for the government, as seen most prevalently in the newest Superman movie, showing how woke superheroes and stuff really are, and how so many comics and stuff that's talked about in these books actually haven't been seen on live action, where they are actually really against this. As for the point about all the, villains having doctorates or being doctors or and whatnot, there's so many heroes that are named doctor or have doctorates on the other hand. So again, I think it goes down to the morality and the ethicalness of what people think.